They talked about how their daughter's probably gonna have a big nose because they have a big nose. And I'm like, why do you guys care? I'm back. Did you miss me? It's been about a month since I have posted a video over here on this channel, and I've missed you all so much. If you have missed me, I have been over on my TikTok posting videos like every single day. Now, it is different content than this. I have been getting a lot of those jewelry mystery jars where you pull jewelry out, you have no idea what you're gonna get. It is the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm also selling jewelry and jewelry jars over on my Depop. So I will link my Depop down below, as well as my TikTok. If you guys would like to watch me open jewelry jars, it's very chill and it's so much fun, and I would love to have y'all over there. And I also need a certain amount of TikTok followers before I can make playlists. So if y'all would head over and follow me, I would love you so much for that. We're here today because Gypsy Rose and her boyfriend Ken did a round 2 on the Nick Viall podcast, and I listened to the entire thing so that you don't have to, and trust me, you don't want to, because it was so boring. If you choose to, do so at your own risk. I'm not gonna lie, it was a very, very boring podcast. It was not juicy, it was not fun, and there wasn't a lot to talk about in it, but I did find some things in there that I found to be interesting that I thought we could talk about today. The first thing I want to say is that I actually think Gypsy looked very beautiful in her interview. I feel like she's got like the pregnancy glow going on, and honestly, she does look really good blonde with a little bit of tan. I thought her outfit was really cute. It looked like, you know, she needed a little cider and go to the pumpkin patch. And to say a few positive things first, because there are a few positive things to say apart from that. Ken said at some point in the interview that he really wanted to be able to help her throughout the nights and the difficulties of new motherhood. And Nick Viall's wife, she started saying, she's like, honestly, if she's breastfeeding, there isn't anything that you can do. And I'm like, girl, maybe Nick didn't help you while you were breastfeeding, but there are absolutely things that he can do, like washing all the pump parts, all the bottles, holding the baby when the baby's not eating so the mom can get some sleep. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, it sounds like Nick needs to step it up, but based on what Ken was saying, it sounds like he wants to help her throughout all those difficult things. And I appreciated that while she was trying to say there's not really much you can do anyway, that he's like, actually, I want to help with all the other things, even though I can't nurse. I just thought that was a very unintelligent thing to say as someone who has had a newborn baby. There are so many other things that you can do, like cook her dinner, you know, help her get some rest, help her so that she can go take a bath. There are other things that you can do as a dad other than pull the boobie out, you know what I mean? I hope that what he's saying is what he actually ends up doing, because whether they work out or don't work out, the child deserves to have both of her parents in her life. And I think based on what he's saying is it sounds like he's really going to step it up and do what needs to be done. At least we can only hope, because before you have a baby, you can say anything all you want, but once the baby's here, things really change a lot. Like Gypsy talked about in this interview how she doesn't think that her childhood trauma is going to affect her parenting at all. And I don't think she realizes that with the type of trauma that she has endured, things do come up when you have a baby. You have memories and flashes of things. There's potential for postpartum, and it doesn't really sound like she's prepared for those things to potentially go wrong. Honestly, it's one of those things where when you're like a first-time mom and you're pregnant, you kind of have to learn it all on your own. Like, you're not gonna know all of this stuff until your baby's here, and that's when everything changes. So I don't think she's really aware. Now, they said that they were filming for season 2, so we will get to see kind of like the behind the scenes of the entire thing, and sometimes what's behind the scenes on reality TV is not quite what they are sharing. Did say that they're on their second week of therapy, so they're currently doing couples therapy, and I guess it's possible for people to go into couples therapy when they're doing well in their relationship, but I feel like it's a bit more common for people to go into couples therapy when they're having some issues. And so if they're having issues now and they haven't been together very long and the baby isn't here, I don't know. I hope things go well for them. I really, really do. I truly do. I hope that all of the, things that people are saying is going to happen when the baby's here doesn't happen. And I hope that everything goes well for them, because I am always an advocate for children having their parents in their lives if their parents are good parents, not if their parents are bad parents, but if their parents are good parents. It's all fun and games until you have a child that's put in the mix of a situation. And so they're about to have a baby, And that is an innocent life that deserves only the best. And so I hope that that's what she's going to get. And that's the energy that I'm putting out. But it is a good thing, okay, that they're doing couples therapy now and taking care of it now before the baby's here. So hopefully whatever issues they're having, they can work through those things. Now, another thing that they talked about in this interview was Ken does not want to get married, at least not yet, which is interesting because he proposed to her while she was in prison. But she's been out and she's now pregnant with his baby and he has not proposed, and she obviously wants him to. She said that she wants to get married and everybody knows how she feels about that, but she doesn't want to like pressure him into it. I kind of have a feeling that she probably is behind the scenes. Either that or she's trying to manipulate and tell him what he wants to hear, hoping that that will be the end goal. But she very obviously wants to get engaged to him and he doesn't want to. Now, one of the things that's interesting about that is they currently live an hour away from each other and he is a bartender. And I'm not sure if he lives in New Orleans, but I would be interested to know if he's a bartender in New Orleans. I'm sure some of you all will already be letting me know in the comments down below if he is or not. But I don't know. I'm wondering how she feels about that he's an hour away, he bartends, which there's no telling what happens in that life. Hopefully they have a very trusting relationship, but you just never know. He seems a little bit reckless in his decisions too, because I mean, he got her pregnant. You know what I mean? And they also got the tattoos. So he also makes reckless decisions, which match made in heaven. But I find it interesting that he will, perform the actions that could potentially lead to a lifelong decision that is a baby. But he also doesn't want to marry her. And the thing about that is that if he were to marry her, they would be able to live together, because her being on parole, she can't live with him and can only stay with him 2 days out of the week. And I think he likes that arrangement. Because if he didn't, I think that he would probably marry her so that they could live together. Because, I mean, he's saying like he wants to be able to help her every day with the baby, but you're not going to be able to do that because he has a job. Like, how is he going to help her every day with the baby if he works an hour away at a bartending job and she can only stay with him 2 nights out of the week? And so I find that to be something that stands out to me, is that he would propose to this girl while she was in prison and incapable of living with him and all of that. But now that if he proposed to her, she can move in with him, he doesn't want to do it. I don't know. Like, I think it's a good thing if he doesn't want to actually marry her and be with her. It's definitely a good thing. I don't think he should propose, because like, if you don't actually love somebody and want to be with them forever, don't do that, like, period. But I'm curious what you all think about that. Like, isn't it interesting that he proposed to a girl that he cannot live with, he cannot see every day, he has to have like limited prison calls with, limited visits with, can't do all the things that you do, when you're out of prison. But now that she's out and they could actually live together only if he married her, he won't do it? And she's pregnant with his baby? I don't know. It sounds a little bit dramatic, and I'm wondering if that's going to be something that pops up in season 2 that they talk about, because I would be interested to see the behind the scenes of those conversations, because I have a very hard time believing that Gypsy's just like, he needs to make his own decisions. I don't know. I bet we're going to see something a little bit different behind the scenes, because I just have such a hard time believing that these cameras are not going to catch any of that anger that she probably feels that he won't propose. Because, she does split-second decisions. She does things like this. And she's, like, in love with him and obsessed with him. That girl wants to get married to him and live in his house and be around him every day. There's got to be some fights around that. Like, And I mean, like, Ken said that in therapy, one of the good things about it that he likes is that they're able to discuss things with the therapist that they're not bringing up to each other without the therapist. And I feel so nosy. It's not my business. It's also not your business, but I'm like, All I'm trying to say is, because of her history, it kind of makes me wonder, like, is he nervous to bring these things up to her without somebody there? I don't know. Or like, oh my God, does he not want to live with her every day because he's nervous that if he makes her mad, she might, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I wouldn't personally be able to sleep next to somebody at night after that. They discussed how they're going to handle, you know, communicating to their daughter what happened to her grandmother. And first thing I want to mention is that Nick Viall goes on this like little mini rant. He has a daughter, and so he was talking about how they're going to handle that situation without them like having their grandparent in their life. And I'm like, there is no way that he is trying to relate his situation to Gypsy's, whose mom is not here because she had somebody in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? Like, this is a completely different situation and so not relatable in any way. One thing about Nick and his partner is that obviously really like Gypsy, which is fine, but when I want to hear an interview from somebody who asks the challenging questions and not somebody who's just like a kiss ass of her or like friends with her behind the scenes, because they have a mutual really good friend. Like, Nick's girlfriend has the same makeup artist as Gypsy that Gypsy invited to do her makeup. So you already know, like, going into this interview that it's going to be biased more on like a positive light, which is fine, but I also want to hear some juicy tea. But anyways, Gypsy said that she wrote the memoir partly for her daughter one day, so that she can read it and know that she's not just this monster or this bad person. And I'm like, girl, if she is of reading age and mature enough to read a book about of your mom, if she thinks you're a bad person at that point because of just what other people are saying on the internet, then I don't think you did a very good job of being a mom. I think the only way she would think she was a monster if she behaves as a monster as a mom, or behaves like a monster as a mom, then she'll probably think that way. She is going to have opinions about this when she hears the full story. She is. And if her mom's a good mom, then I'm inclined to believe that, you know, she will believe her mom and the way her mom says that things went, and she'll probably have empathy and understand why she did what she did. But if Gypsy is not a good mom and she sees things behind the scenes, she's probably not going to believe her, and it isn't going to matter what's in her memoir, okay? I'm definitely interested to read it, and actually, I don't even know when it comes out. I'm going to look it up really quick. I'm really curious because I don't actually know, and I will obviously be reading it. Okay, so it doesn't come out until December 10th, so it will be a while before we are talking about that book. Oh my God, there was also this part, I wrote this in my notes, where Nick was saying, like, I can see that you try to make clear and healthy decisions, and I'm just like, okay, we'll put the murder of her mom aside as one of the worst decisions that she ever made. We'll just put that over here. But what about all the other decisions that she made? Spontaneously getting married, the quick decision to leave her husband, the tattoos, the getting pregnant. There's no telling what other split decisions she would be making if she wasn't on parole. They talked about how their daughter's probably going to have a big nose because they have a big nose. And I'm like, why do you guys care? Like, why are you guys even talking about that? That is so just weird to me. And also, she talked about Ryan really briefly, and she said that she's at a higher level of healing than Ryan is. Girl. I don't know. Honestly, what did you all think about this podcast episode? Did you watch it all? I was so bored. But I mean, good for them because they're not really giving people like me a lot to talk about, and I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. I will say, I'm pretty sure their daughter's name is going to be Aurora because they were doing a live and Ken was like rubbing Gypsy's belly and he started to say Aurora. So, and I know that was one of the contenders for the name, which I feel bad that it got spoiled like that because everybody's been talking about it. You missed me. I'm over on TikTok. I've been going through a bunch of jewelry jars and I'm also selling jewelry. So if you're interested in that, my TikTok will be linked down below. I'd love to have you over there. I've been having so much fun. I've been posting like almost every day on TikTok, and I'll be back again with a Sister Wives video because I've been watching the season and I have some things to say. I'll see you guys soon.